Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter Ecosystem, and today in this video we will cover part 2. Now let's begin with the first question here, which was asked in the year 2000. Nematophores are characteristic of plants growing in dash. So what is this nematophores? How do you classify them? How do you define them in biology? I mean, when we talk about biology, we always remember that we talk in terms of zoology and botany. That is how we separate the subject and study. Likewise, when you take nematophores, they have a different definition when it comes in botany and zoology. Let's discuss that first. So in zoology, if you see, it is a gas-filled float of some colonial coelentrates, such as the Portuguese man of war. And when we say in botany, it is in mangroves and other swamp plants and aerial roots specialized for gaseous exchange. Okay, now they are, so if you see the common characteristic, I mean both in zoology or botany, the one thing that they commonly tell is they are used for the gaseous exchange or something like that. Okay, now they are asking, where does it grow predominantly? Okay, some plants growing in salty marshy areas develop special roots for respiration. So here if you see, even if that gaseous exchange to happen, you need a specialized root, and that root, if you see, is helpful for the survival of the plant, and those roots are actually called as nematophores, and they are negatively geotrophic. Therefore, which place do they grow in? Option C, marshy places and salt lakes. Okay, next question here. The greatest biomass of autotrophs in the oceans is dash. So what are autotrophs? They are the plants which, they are the ones which can prepare their own food. They are not dependent, or they do not expect a source from something else. When they have the enough light and source that they require, they automatically prepare their own food. So here if you see, the greatest biomass of autotrophs in the oceans is dash. So analyze the options here. First option is sea grasses and slime molds. Then you have free floating microalgae, cyanobacteria and nanoplankton. Okay, now what do you mean by biomass? How can you define biomass? Okay, so here if you see, it can be defined as a plant or an animal material that is used for energy production, or in various industrial processes they are used as raw substance. Now the greatest biomass of autotrophs in the oceans is at the free floating microalgae, cyanobacteria and nanoplankton. The correct answer is option B. Okay, see, these questions, they don't require much explanation because they're self-explanatory. When you go to an oceanic area, or even when you take a lake, you see them growing, right? Next question. The rate at which the light energy is converted into chemical energy of organic molecules in the ecosystem is dash. So here I already told you what is the difference between the gross and net. Net is after deduction, while gross is before deduction, right? That is, and I also gave you an example for this. You have your whole salary in your hand, that is your gross. When you deduct everything from it, the rent, the electricity bill and so on, the remaining that you have is your net. So here they are not asking us any deducted form. The rate at which the light energy is converted to chemical energy of organic molecules in the ecosystem. So they are having everything under. There is no deduction here. So it should be gross. But here the only thing is primary or secondary. But here it will come as primary because it's just the completion of the process, and you don't have, and that's the primary energy that they have. So therefore the answer will be option B, gross primary productivity. Okay, next question here. Which of the following ecosystems has the highest rate of gross primary production? Okay, so here you have four options: grassland, mangroves, coral reefs and equatorial rainforest. And this question we already discussed in the part 1. If you remember that, you'll be able to answer now. Yes, it is equatorial rainforest. I told rainforest has the biggest contribution when it comes to the ecosystem. Equatorial forest has the highest gross primary production, that is the productivity is maximum here. That is, it is about 1200 kilocals meter squared per year. So the primary production or the highest production comes from here. Coral reefs are often called as rainforest of the sea. It forms some of the most diverse ecosystem in the earth. While if you take the coral reefs, they have the highest gross primary productivity in the sea. So when you talk in terms of sea, you can take in coral reefs, or you can even take the grasslands. Okay, but here they are asking us the gross primary production in the ecosystem. It's in general. Therefore, the answer will be equatorial rainforest, which is option D. Okay, next question here. Niche of a species in an ecosystem refers to dash. So what does niche do? If you know the definition of this, now you'll be able to answer. Niche is a specific part of a habitat that is determined by the functioning of the population, and that will include shelter. So what all it includes? Shelter, type of food, season, etc. The place, you can even add the location here. Okay, so you have many things here. So niche of a species in an ecosystem refers, see, you have four options. Place, it's already there. Competitive ability, that is already there. Center of origin, it's somewhat similar. So all that, if you see, it's a function at its place of occurrence. Okay, niche is a specific part of the habitat that is determined by the functioning of the population. Therefore option A is the right answer. Next question here. Which of the following does not have a stomata? Okay, now what does a stomata do? Let's discuss that. A stomata helps in the opening and the closing process, that is water, right? For example, if there are plants, if the plants are in a very scarce place where there's less quantity of water, stomata is required, because imagine they don't have a stomata, the water loss will be more, because the pores are always open. Even in a land plant where you grow in your household places, they even require stomata, because there might be favorable, there might be unfavorable conditions. So a stomata will not be required for one source which is always enjoying water. You always have water there. Only then you don't need a stomata. It will even if it loses or even if it gains, it's not going to make a big difference for the plant. A simple logic is required for this question. Okay, so here if you see, out of the four options, hydrophytes, of course they have water, but they might get unfavorable conditions. Again, it needs water, it needs stomata. Mesophytes, it needs. Xerophytes, they highly need stomata. But when it comes to a submerged hydrophytes, they're always blessed with water. They don't require any source. They're always underwater, so they always have water. Therefore the correct answer will be option D. In these plants, stomata is absent and the gaseous exchange takes place through the body surface itself. Okay, next question here. If we completely remove the decomposers from an ecosystem, its function will be adversely affected, because imagine there are no decomposers in the world. What will happen to the waste that we liberate from factories, from houses, from organizations? What will happen? Everything is going to remain as such, and the whole world will one day become nothing but a waste. Now, decomposers are required when we say it as a general process, or when we say in generally we require, and it's a very important process also. The decomposers, because they act on the dead organic matter and they break them down into simpler compounds which can be reused by us. Sometimes it gets absorbed by the earth, land, and it has some benefit towards the crop cultivation and many other sources. Sometimes the soil is fertilized, so you have many activities. Now, if you completely remove the decomposers from the ecosystem, you're actually blocking the minerals. Once it is getting converted into simpler compounds, they are in a way that the earth or the land can absorb it, right? So when you happen to remove them, the mineral movement will be totally blocked. Therefore the right answer is option C. Next question here. Which of the following is the most stable ecosystem? Very easy question. The ocean. The ocean is the right answer. The ocean is about or over about 2 to 2/3 of the whole surface of the earth. Thus, it is the most stable ecosystem because the buffering action of the water. Okay, so this is a direct question. You can ask me a question of why forest, mountain, desert doesn't come under it. Desert, there are a lot of unfavorable conditions, so the ecosystem will not be stable there. For a mountain also, the peak, you get peak values there. Either it is extreme hot, extreme cold, so again, the stability becomes a problem there. Forest, to some extent, we can accept, but the thing is now, the scenario is changing because we cannot even expect stability there because manpower is destroying and exploiting it a lot. So the stability has been lost in forest. To ocean, some extent, due to the presence of water, which is there always, helps in the buffering action and maintaining the stability of the ecosystem. Next question here. In biotic community, the most important factor for survival of an animal is dash. Very easy question. We all know food is the necessity of life. And when you talk about the food chain, it starts from the grass and it moves to the grasshopper and the chain goes. But everything starts from a primary source and it moves on. The cycle moves on, the chain moves on. But when you talk in terms of an animal, survival of an animal, of course it requires food. It's not the day length or the soil moisture of predators. Only when there is food, even herbivores can survive. Eating the herbivores, the carnivores will survive. Even when there is, so it is understood, very well understood. It's not just predators who we need because predators hunt on the herbivores. So the ultimate requirement is the green food, which is option C. Next question here. Bulk carbon dioxide fixation occurs in dash. Very easy question, in fact. I think by now you have guessed the answer. We just now saw the stability of the ecosystem. Yes, the correct answer is oceans, and that is because of the presence of phytoplanktons. Oceans, I just now told you in the earlier question, the cyanobacteria, the microalgae, the phytoplanktons which are present there increase the amount of carbon dioxide fixation and all that. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is oceans. Okay. Next question here. Decomposers are organisms that dash. Okay. So we'll analyze one by one. Elaborate chemical substances causing death of tissues, wrong. Operate in a living body and simplifying organics, no, wrong. Attack and kill plants as well as animals, wrong. They operate in a relay term, simplifying step by step the organic constituents of dead body. Very well understood. It's a self-explanatory one. You don't have to have much answer for this. So a decomposer helps in breaking down of the complex molecules, especially organic matter, and it is converted into simpler form. So the decomposers are predominantly fungi, bacteria and worms. Okay. Next question here. Study of interrelationships between organisms and the environment is called as dash. Very easy question. See, whenever you have a term with logy, phycology, microbiology, all these tell you that they study about something. When we talk about the interrelationship, the study is called as ecology. German biologist Ernst Haeckel coined the term ecology, the study of interrelationship between organisms and their environment. Ecosystem consists of different communities of the organism and therefore it cannot be considered. While if you take the rest one, geography, phytogeography is a study of geographic distribution of the plant species and so on. So therefore the correct answer to this question is option A. Okay, next question here. Pedology is a science of dash. See, edology is actually the study about soil. Soil is the uppermost weathered layer of the earth's crust and it is composed of minerals and partly decomposed organic matter. A pedologist will work or will study about the soil, texture, the mineral content in it, the fertilization, what are the mineral source that is present in it. So the pedology is a science of soil. Okay, so these questions are direct. I do not give much explanation because they are self-explanatory and they are direct also. All you have to remember is pedology is a study about soil. Greatest producers of organic matter are dash. Okay, you have 4 options here. Analyze. Crop plants, forest plants of the land area, phytoplanktons of the oceans. I think by now you'd have guessed the answer. Yes, it is phytoplankton of the oceans. Just now we saw about the uses also, the major contribution for carbon dioxide fixation and so on. So greatest producers of organic matter are phytoplankton of the oceans. Okay, next question here. Upper part of sea or aquatic ecosystem contains dash. Again, this is a direct question we just now discussed. We had some 5 to 6 questions about this plankton. Yes, the upper part of the sea or the aquatic ecosystem contains phytoplankton, and you have this here. Organisms which passively float in the upper water. Nekton is actively swimming ones, and benthos, if you see, they lead a sedentary life upon the sea bottom. So you need to know about each option, right? So that is why this explanation. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option A. With this, we complete the part 2 of ecosystem. Hope to meet you in the next part of the same chapter. Thank you.